the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Dankjewel. Ik vind welkom. Dit is mijn home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
Manchester 3, Chelsea 4. The results in a game of football cannot be reversed. But to practice on the mistakes afterwards can be rehearsed. But the insanity of Manchester United's season so far, it's like that movie Shallow Hall, with Ten Hag playing Jack Black. Cursed only sees beauty, but in reality Gwyneth Paltrow, that plays that role, is actually not that perfect 10, the slim 10 that he sees and believes. In reality, she's a big fat blob. Although everyone keeps telling 10 or Jack, or 10. What are you doing? Can't you see she's fat and ugly? But in reality, Ten Hag is cursed. His players he sees as perfect 10s. Is it Shallow Hall or Shallow Hag? To be honest, a leopard never changes its spot. Still, a manager tries to dress it up and pretend it's hot. I'm Mick Ruby, of course, and welcome to MUFC Realist TV. So welcome to the Friday special. In today's show we are going to talk about yesterday's game, the referee debacle, the brain farts of a player allowing Chelsea to win the game in 90 seconds, or is it gone in 90 seconds? Is Ten Hag delusional with his post-match interview? Will Ineos back him or sack him? We're also going to go listen to the Ten Hag's presser versus Liverpool. And finally, we're going to talk about the Liverpool game. Will we bounce back, and what needs to be done by Ten Hag? Is it Shallow Hall or is it Shallow Hag? Joining me in the studio today, I have the brilliant Bilal Yogi from Full Time Reds and our own Phil Standish, who you also can see on the Football Terrace, making us proud. But before we continue, guys, you know what to do. Please like and subscribe, hit that notification button, and let that show begin. Here we go. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Please unmute yourself. We got Phil Standish to the left and co-streaming on Full-Time Reds, Bilal Yogi. How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. Very good.
Yep. Phil, you good?
Surviving.
You're
surviving. Can't use the word good today.
You're surviving.
Can't use the word good today. It's just getting through sort of thing. It's just one of them, isn't it?
Right.
Where the aftermath, the day after, the hangover, so to speak. Just I don't really know. I still don't know what to say. Some of the stuff I've been reading today is just more and more damning. It just throws United's season into shade. It's just the shots conceded, the number of goals the number of goals we've already conceded. I can go on, and I'm sure it will as the show goes on, sort of thing. But yeah,
Bilal,
grief not good.
Bilal, gone in 90 seconds. Can you summarize last night's debacle in 90 seconds, including, how could United lose that 3-2 to a 4-3 loss in 90 seconds?
Firstly, thank you for having me on, Mick. Very much appreciated. Very nice to meet you, Phil, as well.
Nice to meet you, mate.
I think, as we said yesterday in the match reaction, it just sums up the season where it reflected games against Galatasaray, Bayern Munich, so many other games. And I think, like I said last night, I think that is the maximum, unfortunately, the manager is going to give in this current setup. Whether he continues or not, that's a different conversation. But I think this is his maximum level. That's the players. I don't think the players are not trying. I think they are trying to the best of their ability under this directions, but I think this is what he could, and he's got to a point where even he said, forget the tactics, just get it up the pitch and see what you can do. And it reminds me very much of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a bit less structure, which I think we've gone backwards then. But it's not a good look for if this was any other club, heads would have rolled by now at a bigger club. I'm not saying heads should roll, but I think it's not really a good look. And just to add into my point, I was listening to Talk of the Devils by The Athletic, and they were saying Casemiro was not even fit, hence why people just kept running past him and he couldn't keep up with anyone. But a lot of fans want the manager to succeed, but he's running out of goodwill, and he's running out of fast, which is not a good look as well. We all want him to do really well. We want him. We don't want it. We want the players to go first, and then maybe look at the manager if he doesn't succeed in a year or two. But he's running out of time and he's running out of goodwill.
Phil, do you think we saved Pochettino's career yesterday?
No, not if the managements have got their head screwed on as well. Because at the end of the day, I was saying last night, it was one of those. Well, I was in a chat where we were saying that so much. It's about who was the worst, not who was the best. Who was going to make the biggest mistakes? Because we're both mid-table teams at this moment, and we're not even performing as mid-table teams. It was embarrassing from start to finish. Ten Hag's comments to say, there was the good moments for United in the game were the goals, and that's easy to say. But what I mean is there wasn't much else that you can remember. The way we bottled it, we did bottle it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Chelsea were gone. They were finished. We came back 2-2. They were like head scratching again. What went wrong there? Couldn't pick themselves up.
Yeah.
So many fans of Chelsea fans have said that they thought it was all like 60, 70th minute sort of thing. And United were like, yeah, we've got this. And we were actually doing what we've been screaming for as fans all season. We were actually holding the ball up. We were controlling it. We were controlling it in midfield. We were passing it around sensibly. We were running the clock down in the right way because we were still trying to take opportunities to break it forward, but there wasn't much of that. Despite Chelsea having so many forward players on the pitch at the end, we were doing everything seemed to be going all right. And had we come away with a 3-2 win, you'd have had to say that Ten Hag subs had worked quite well. Yeah. Højlund wasn't having a good game yesterday, so try something different with somebody else. You can't assume that Rashford isn't going to have a good game. We know off recent performances he's not going to, but you can't just assume that. So you've got to try something different. Garnacho was looking absolutely wrecked, so he brought Mount on, and I actually thought Mount did well. Made some good tackles, made some good passes, won the ball back, showed tenacity, did everything right in those 10 moments. I know somebody said, and I've still not had a chance to watch it back, somebody said that he didn't track back, which led to the Dalot penalty sort of thing. I've not seen that, so I can't comment. But or I've not seen it back. But apart from that, you'd be then saying, well done, Ten Hag. We turned it around. We made some changes, and it's paid off. But now it's just like, what went wrong?
It could have been an amazing victory, from turning around from 0-2 to 3-2. At the end of the day. I'm just more. My personal opinion is that I'm more frustrated that we couldn't see out the game, and we couldn't even take a professional yellow card, or we couldn't even, slow down the game a bit, to control it. As soon as that 3-3 penalty went in, we lost our heads, right? We went gun ho trying to sort of score that winning goal, which led us totally exposed, right? So that hurts.
It's the law of averages, though. If you're going to concede that many shots against better opposition, they're going to go in. You can't. Okay. Brentford was lucky that it was a crap team, but the more you go up the ladder and you keep conceding 30 shots a game, you're going to concede. It's just how it works.
Yeah. Anyway, big up for everyone that's tuning into MUFC Realist TV this Friday. Let us know, how do you feel to be a Manchester United supporter today? I'm proudly joined by Phil Standish. It's a rare commodity to have you on, my friend. And I saw you yesterday speaking sense on the football terrace. But anyway, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. There's 7 of you tuning in on all cross platforms, and also in Bilal Yogi's full-time Reds we are co-stringing as well. Truth Seeker is in the house, Edward Reed Eyelight is in the house, Lillis United as per usual, Rajat as well, and Danny B as well, who is here as well. And big up to all of you guys. If we're going to talk about statistics, I'm just going to lay something out here. Like, most injuries in Premier League history, no left back all season. Number 2, first choice centre back started 3 games together, right? 1 striker, 1 CDM, 2 best players going AWOL. But the only stats we kind of stuck into is the shots conceded, What can Ten Hag do to improve this position? Is it shallow Hall, like the intro, or is it shallow Hag? Because at the end of the day, you got to understand what is wrong, and you keep doing the same thing over and again and glorifying your players, but not really seeing. It's like that movie, you know, that Shallow Hall. If you've seen it, right? Jack Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shallow Hall. Yeah.
Shallow Hall, yeah. So for me, it's kind of like, you can be balanced to say, yeah, we can recognize the injury situation. We can understand, the medical department. In the first place, who bloody hell gave the green light to give Varane a start, who had a concussion in the first place, and also Johnny Evans, because both came out the playing field, which is absolutely shambolic.
Yeah, this is what I was saying to you earlier, wasn't it? Saying United have put a statement out today saying off Ten Hag's presser that both are past fit. But by who? Who are passing these players fit, and what is classed as fit nowadays? Is it you can stand up? Is that classed as fit nowadays because we're so injury stricken? What is class? It's not 100% fit. There's absolutely no way. You cannot be 100% fit and then go off without a knock. There was no like calamity cross of knees where they've collapsed together or opened a joint or anything like that. I think it was McTominay did that. I mean, I know Fernandes has been ripped as well. He was injured at the end of the first half. Now he came back on and didn't seem to show that injury. We've got McTominay with all these injuries. The problem I've got with it is I'm one of the people who are screaming the most about all the injuries that we've had this season. But to concede the goals we did against Brentford, only a few days earlier, how did we not learn from that? And this isn't the first time, as Bilal said already. This has happened in the Champions League. It's happened in the Europa League. It's happened in the Premier League. This is a consistent. Here's a stat that I found online today. We have conceded 27 goals this season within 10 minutes of a goal being scored. So that's whether we score or they score.
Shocking.
That is a serious problem. The mentality. So if somebody scores, they score again, or if we score, we concede within 10 minutes, 27 times. That's a mental game that is down to the manager. That has got. Well, it's down to the manager and the players, because the manager's got to put the belief into the players to say, look, calm things down. You've scored. Just reset yourselves, sort yourselves out, As you know, I'm a football coach for a kids team. And one of the things that we scream at the kids, they can be 3, 4, 5-0 up. And all we're screaming at the kids is 0-0. 0-0 mentality. Keep playing like it's 0-0. Keep playing like you've got the game to go. You've got to, because if you think, we've won it, lads, we've done it, it's over. You drop, you change your style of play, you stop trying, you stop chasing back. To leave, I mean, first of all, the penalty, yes, it was soft. I've seen them given, I've seen them not given all season and for the last few seasons. Little tiny knocks that are so intricate where you can almost put a piece of string between just to check, was there a contact on that string? It was that minute. You're talking fishing wire connection sort of thing. But if he did connect to him, and Dallow's face looked like he did look guilty in that moment, he knew that he dragged him down and it was his foot just before he got his arm across. However, that being said, Onana diving to the right twice in the same game against the same player when 8 of Palmer's penalties have gone to the left. Why does Onana dive right twice? Do some homework, do some research on that, or at least go the same way and try to play that mental game. It's just not acceptable. And then to leave Cole Palmer unmarked in the 99th minute when we've just conceded and when we know he's the biggest threat on the pitch, it's unforgivable.
Yeah. Big up Jarvis Cocker as well, coming in here to say fantastic point, Standish. We talked about this so many times, how to handle emotions of the game. Bilal, that's coming over to you as well. Of course, we want to hear from you. Emotions of the game, is it manager or is it collective players? I spoke to Phil earlier this morning as well about this, and I said, you know what? There's certain things that the manager can do, and bringing in Mason Mount to sort of calm things down, to hold the ball. But at the end of the day, the players on the pitch, they're professionals. They have clocked in over thousands and thousands of game time ever since they were kids. They should know how to see out the game. What's your reflection over this?
Firstly, some great points there. But the first thing is, from a tactical point of view, I'm no tactician. I'm just an average fan like everybody else. But what you see is the front six kind of do some sort of press, and the back four then are like, should we not? And they don't, and because of their lacking confidence, they drop. And because they drop, it leaves a gap. And if you look at Aston Villa, they're the masters of this, of that offside high press. Get them up, and we're going to play them offside. And Unai Emery's drilled that into them, and they do it really, really well. So I think there's and if I can see, I'm just a guy watching this on TNT. I'm no expert. I'm sure they can see that as well. And this has been happening all season, where the front six kind of do a press, and the back four just totally drop off, which leaves the gap. Right, number one. Number two is regarding the emotional aspect. Where's the captain in all this? He's got to get everyone together, got to get them calm. He's got to get them in position. And the thing is, last year we were constantly going on about Harry Maguire. He's not a good captain. We've changed captain. We've gone worse. We've gone a lot worse. So the coach has to take responsibility, and the captain has to take responsibility. And then it comes down to the senior players after that. But if the captain, in the image I sent you, Mick, yesterday, where he's pointing at somebody to go and mark Cole Palmer at the edge of the box, if he's seen nobody doing that, either quickly go and just do it yourself because he's more of a threat, or get somebody in. But for me, it's a collective. It lies on the manager, then it lies on the captain, and then it lies on the senior players after that.
Phil, I agree with NC Smith is saying here. Big up NC Smith as well, to say they don't work as a unit. And he kind of feels like, a lot of teams are gelling. A lot of teams know how to play, how to find each other. Our team look like we are lost. We are out of ideas, including the manager are flat on ideas. On numerous occasions, you can see how you drive up the ball, but there's no runners. There's nobody presenting themselves to receive the ball and how to pass the ball. So if you can look at the number of shots we actually creating versus them, it's a totally different ballgame from last season as well. So would you agree with NC Smith here that we don't work as a unit?
Yeah, completely. I think one of the things that we're seeing this season is lots of individuals playing as individuals. We're not seeing teamwork. There's been a few games, and I say that you could probably count on one hand how many games where you've seen us actually playing as a team, thinking, "Oh, something's happening here. I can't believe this."
Yeah, I agree.
But usually, it's not for a full game; it's a half. We're playing great, and then and we go in at half time and think, "Hey, we did all right there, lads. Well done. Let's carry on." But then they don't, or they come out the second half fighting, which is a rarity. We've conceded in the second half. We've conceded 24 goals. We've scored 24 goals and conceded 28 in the second half of games this season. That's in Premier League games. Yeah. In terms of playing together as a unit, not at all. I mean, what we're seeing is moments of individual brilliance, and I use the word brilliance loosely, but I use, you think of moments of like Anthony last night. I thought was by far the player of the match. Oh, yeah. Not just that cross. I thought. For United's player of the match, at least. I don't want to upset all the Chelsea fans right now, but I think for United's player of the match, for tenacity and stuff, for everything he's been accused of not doing, he's starting to bring something a bit different. And he wasn't just going down. He had Cucurella in his pocket. He knew he could skin him every time, and he played it fantastic. But other time, for that third goal, he looked like he was about to go down the outside again, then cut back, which is what we've been asking for. Cut back, don't always be predictive, don't always do the same. Cut back, played it to Bruno. Bruno played it, the pass across the
that was beautiful.
Garnacho, Dalot, back to Bruno, had a goal all over. Right. Fantastic. But we're not, as a unit, what we're seeing in the last couple of games, Brentford, since Højlund got that small injury where he was out for 1 or 2 games. Before that, where we had a gut run of 6 goals, I think it was in a row, in 6 games. We were playing differently again. We were playing to Højlund's strengths, but in the last 2 games, we've not done. We've gone back to what we were doing when he wasn't scoring. We're not giving him the ball. We're not playing the ball to him. Every time the ball does go to him, he's got 3 or 4 players on him. He's trying to hold them all off, sort of thing, like they've been wrestling match. He's literally holding up UFC sort of thing, trying to hold out the players, while everybody else just runs off around him in the hope that he'll get a flick on. And then he's getting frustrated because he's not getting the service. He's not getting a chance. Only we need to get more players in the box so that he can do a little layoff or something like that and roll it off to them, or chest it or head it or whatever it might be, a flick on. the goals that we're scoring at the moment are coming from the wingers because of the movement that he's making and the players that he's holding up. But in terms of teamwork, we're just not seeing it. I know. So I don't know whether it was you just said it, Bilal, or I read it somewhere in the comments about all the players are playing the best at the moment. I disagree. That they're absolutely not. I've just seen another video today of Rashford jogging around, and somebody said, "No, I don't agree. I think it's you're not showing the whole picture." But you are. You're seeing the whole picture. Rashford was just he'd been on to get 12, 15 minutes.
He's been doing that all season. Why does he keep playing him then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he was trying something
Newcastle
different.
game. I remember he did the same thing in that Newcastle game, and this has been going on ever. So why does he keep playing him?
So he didn't start him, and I think he didn't start him because of the way he's been playing, right? But clearly we were knackered because of the way we played, giving end to end, no balance in the game, no structure, no composure. It was literally end to end from the moment that second goal went in, sort of thing. And after that, so the players were absolutely wrecked on the feet. Those who were on the pitch, Casemiro. Somebody just said he was injured. So why start him? You've got players on the bench who aren't injured. McTominay, I don't think he was carrying injury, and I'm not saying he's a great player, but at least he's not injured. Start him. Don't start an injured player. And Casemiro this season has been since he went out last season with that red card and missed 5 or 6 games. He's never been the same player since. He's done. Unfortunately, we wanted him to come back and be the player he was before then, where we couldn't do without him, and he's not. We've never seen him. We'll not see that player ever again. Certainly not in the Premier League. We
needed. Once we went 3-2 up, the subs should have been Eriksen and Amrabat, who can retain the ball and recycle the ball.
Yeah.
That were the 2 clear subs they were to his signings, 2 subs. Amrabat, Eriksen, recycle the ball. Mount was on, he was holding the ball. But when you've got McTominay, if you look at one of the breaks, I can't remember at the end, there was about 7 players in the other half. We needed to just retain, and then there was the element of the dirty side of the game where you take a foul, you throw the ball out, you slow the game down. You got to kill the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
Jarvis Cocker saying, yes, Bilal, good observation. The stretches are worrying. My question is, who's responsible for this, player or manager?
Who's responsible for what, sorry? What do you mean the stretch? What's he saying?
I think he's meaning when there's a gap in the middle and there's 5, 6 at the top and the defense is dropping off. And
yes, exactly.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I'll go first if you want. I think
go for it.
If the manager knows that he must have asked the defenders. If they're not confident doing that, he needs to change that approach. Then there's no point trying to play a high line if these guys are not confident and then dropping. And then if you're dropping players, as we saw against Brentford and against what Pochettino did yesterday, even the subs he made, they were all pacey players, so they're going to keep coming at you. So he's then going to either adapt the tactics, go to a 5 at the back, change play, bring Amrabat on Eriksen, or he's got to then say, if you are confident in playing and you're telling me you are, you've got to stick to fucking playing the high line.
Yeah.
I think with the gap, sorry, go on.
I'm just going to add on to that question because that leads into the overall title, like Shallow Hall. And it's the mad professor in a way that, this is not Eredivisie. And he didn't play like this last season, but he changed the tactics this season based on the personnel that he brought in. Onana to play a sweeper keeper, to play six up front, to press. And it doesn't change. It's not reactive enough. You clearly saw that Pochettino did some changes. He tweaked around and it worked in the first half. We were 2-0 down. And finally, we sort of, by mistake of Casado, we got back into the game at XYZ. But this is a common denominator that, can't you see what is wrong? If every single fan that I speak to, including Rivals fans, saying that, why are you keep doing the same thing over and over again? It's a definition of insanity. Do you think that when he's actually having his post-match interviews, when he comes out with the delusional comments to say that we were dominating the game, we were the better team, I was going like, hang on a second. Yes, we played all right, but it was no tactics. It was out of the window. Again, that midfield, as what Jarvis was saying here, the stretch is too big, right? If you look at how Brighton is playing, Brighton, wherever the ball goes, you press as a team, you defend as a team, you attack as a team. It's like this water bottle, right? You see, where the ball goes, everyone keeps flowing in emotion. We don't do that. And is that instruction from Ten Hag? In that case, if it's not working, what the hell can he do to improve? I mean, is it just the mad professor that keeps insisting stubbornness, or do you think it's down to the players?
Mick,
think it's a
if
bit of
you
both.
sorry, if you just look at Enzo Fernandez as an example, right? He's a player that he looks a bit slow. He's a good player, he's a good passer, and he was playing yesterday in that game throughout. We could have played Amrabat because since the City game, there's a perception that you press him, he loses the ball. But in a game like that, he would have been very good on just recycling the ball, passing it around. A very similar profile to Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah. Anyway, so big up to all of you that's tuning in. There's like 150 of you now watching live. So please don't forget to smash the like button. Guys, I want to transition to the next one. Big up Rushmane, our legend here as well. And NC Smith is from Canada. I can see you. We are playing scared. I think we are playing scared. And I think when you look at the facial expression of Ten Hag and the players, they are like scared rabbits at the moment. You know, you're playing for your career, you're playing for your life. You know that Brailsford was in the stand. You know that Ratcliffe was there watching. At the end of the day, guys, I want to transition to this. All right, let's park this and talk about the referee, because that's been a topic. I think what's sad is that's been overshadowing is the performance of Garnacho. What we said, like, when we lose, we miss that beautiful cross. The amazing play from Anthony and the beautiful goals from Garnacho, right? Because Garnacho was constantly running, constantly challenging, young, uncolored, right? Not tempered by the toxic environment that's going on with the senior players. But in terms of referees, the ref yesterday, I mean, we're not sponsored by Manscaped, but his name is Gillette, the best a man can get. if you know what I'm talking about. Gillette, the best a man could get, Manchester United can get. Let me just add this to the stage. 2 penalties was incorrect, according to my opinion. The 8 minutes added was it even 9 minutes, was bizarre. You and me, we spoke about it this morning. We couldn't really calculate it. Gallagher should have been booked for at least pushing off Maino. There should be even some penalties looked at Manchester United side. But this has been the common denominator for United. We don't get the pens. We don't get, how do I say? It feels like it's some form of corruption right there, right now. Like, they want to add on the extra drama. We would have won the game, but where did that 9 minutes come from, right? Now, we can discuss this, but actually, listen, let me just add this to the stage. Oh, look at this one. All right. Phil, talk to me, because we talked about this. The first instance, the Anthony, that was a soft one.
Really soft. It's one of
Very
you can
soft.
see he almost like breaks. You're running at full speed. If he does, he didn't clatter into him. He went down like a flipping set of Duplo or something. It was just poor. He was. At the end of the day, it's what the modern games become. They are the lead. The slightest touch. You hear it all the time from pundits. The slightest touch and the player's going to go down. And I think I heard it last night somewhere that once the touch was there and the penalty's been given, it's harder to rescind it. If it's not given, they're unlikely to give it in those moments because it wasn't really worth it. But once the on-field decision is made, it's very unlikely that they're going to change it if there is a connection. We've seen a couple this season waved away, but they need to be waved away a lot quicker. Ref and VAR just kind of going, nah, there was hardly anything in that. Get on with the game. In the 90, if that happened in the 22nd minute, something like that, or earlier on in the game, 15th minute, whatever, and I don't think you'd be. I'm on about the 96th minute goal now. I'm not sure you'd be seeing the same. It just almost, some things just get waved on if it'd be quite soon after the previous penalty, 22nd minute, whatever it was. It's one of those, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't have given the penalty away. It was clumsy. Whether it was full contact or not. But we had the game. We had the game won. In the 94th minute, we'd won. You know, the points were on the table. We were moving away from Chelsea, and that was it.
I can agree with one penalty though. But there was a big debacle yesterday, and even Vicky was saying that like the referee is stepping into the limelight, and that's a problem, right? They want to be the hero, right? The Premier League and the broadcasting, they're adding on extra minutes for broadcasting rights and for more excitement, and that this is where football is gone, right? And that adds on to more injuries. Like you longer you play, the longer you like get fatigue and muscle injuries. That adds on to the injury pile, so. I don't want to see those 9 minutes. And if that's the case, they could sort of showcase us, where did you calculate those 9 minutes, right? But what is so disturbing it's the final kick of the game and referee. I mean, we will go into this one. Hang on a second. First and foremost, like if you go into this in slow motion, if you look at Anthony's, right? Yes, there is contact, right? Slightly contact, but he's not clipping on this, right? Cucurella is diving. He goes for the ball first. See that? His foot is on the ball.
Yeah.
It's just his knee that touches his thigh. Boom. Right? And he falls like a timber. Like second incident, right? If we go in still frame. Dallo, of course, got caught off guard. We have a fresh Nkulele, what's his name, coming in fresh from the bench. This is after the 3-3. And this is where when gung-ho went up to sort of try to score a winning goal and left us exposed. First and foremost, you see where Harry Maguire is, where Kwambala is. We got that area covered, right? So there was no need to lunge into it. But look, if you really look at it, you and me, we discussed it. He slips, but there's no contact more than the arm.
No, it's before that. It's just before that. It's his foot clips in before it's a split second before that. It's a split second before.
Really, a millimeter. Really,
that's what I was saying before, like a fishing line sort of thing. That's a connection,
yeah,
but it does. And then if you watch that after a split second after that, it slightly buckles his foot, but he keeps his foot in. You can't see it because it's so slow, sort of thing.
But it comes to speed. Of course,
it's not about his arm. It's not about his arm. To me, anyway, because but at the end of the day, if somebody brings you down, whether they fall, whether they're intentional or not, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
So,
but I think his jumps, he amplifies it by of course.
Oh, he does.
Erik absolutely does. Right. Knowing he's got a chance to win it.
But if you look at the positioning, and if he would have let him go, he most likely would have done a cutting pass. But I think we would got covered there, right? But this is what disturbs me, that the referee and the VR took, I think, 2.5, 3 minutes to review it. And when they're looking at it like that, they're not sure. But at the end of the day, they got to back their mate on the pitch, right? Which is Gillette, the best a man can get. It is what it is, but for me, it's just football and VR, get a grip. You totally destroy the game, right? Bilal?
I think it's a bit of a bigger issue. I think it goes back to when Arsenal, I can't remember the player, one of the players fouled Rasmus Højlund. It was a clear penalty. We as a club should have kicked up a fuss like Liverpool did. And if you look at how many decisions Liverpool have got in their favour, even yesterday when Van Dijk basically had the guy from his throat and he's pulled him to the floor, he didn't even get a red card.
Yeah.
And I think we should have made a bigger issue out of this right from the start, and we've been too soft on it. The amount of decisions that have gone against us as a club, we've not raised it to the highest level, and we haven't been aggressive enough with this. In regards to the penalties, look, once the on-field decision goes, the VAR are just going to look for any contact to give the decision, and that's what they do. And that's how it is. They all know that. But at a higher level, we should have raised this and made a huge deal out of it. Even remember when Liverpool Spurs scored the offside, they were writing letters to the bloody Prime Minister. And that's what we should have done.
Exactly. So I think, my opinion alone, I think that the referees has become more authoritarians. It's become an island for themselves. They distance themselves. They're becoming more important. Referees, when I played the game, was almost invincible, right? They were just there to referee. Now, ever since this VR and everything, the scandals and, wrong decisions, it's just been they're protecting themselves. by not allowing players to talk to the referee. Only captains can do, and even you can get like red carded XYZ. So there's no consistency. So where do we go from here as a referee? Like they're trying to introduce blue cards, purple cards. They try to change the game too much. Football is a simple game. At least when I played football, an offside was like a clear and obvious offside, right? Even if the ball was played in, you were not allowed to stand behind the opponent. You know what I mean? Because what's the point of having an offside? A handball was a handball, right? If it touches your hand inside the 6-yard box, it's a handball. But they're trying to sort of make different excuses, which I just don't understand. Like, it's absolutely destroying the game. Do you think this is a certain unbias against Manchester United at the moment?
I think with a soft touch.
Right. Okay, guys. Listen, fair enough. Good, always good debate, guys. Like, thank you for everyone for tuning in as well. So we got to move on as well. That was the referee decision. Like, in terms of I knew that the headlines was coming out today, right? And I've been scanning what other content creators were saying. The first thing was Goldbridge coming out to say, "Oh, Southgate," and I said, screw that Southgate. That is a fake news. If we do appoint Southgate, come on, man, you cannot be serious, guys. Like, if Ineos is appointing the best in class, like Burada, Southgate is not best in class, right? So that is absolutely BS. Now, later today, Laurie Whitwell from Athletic came out to say that Ten Hag job is safe. Have you read that tweet on certain conditions?
I've not read that.
I've heard the
specific
podcast
one.
as well.
You heard the podcast, okay?
Yeah.
I haven't heard the podcast, but of course I read the tweet. I don't subscribe to the Athletic, but there were certain. I'm just going to try to find it here, guys. Hang on a second. I am.
Well, Mick's looking for that.
No, but basically,
what
they're saying that
get?
he's open to work more as a head coach base than having this responsibility. And I think this responsibility is too much for him this season, right? He's been dealing with all these scandals, the takeover, and he's actually just a track coach manager, right? So he's happy to work in that role. He had several talks with Ratcliffe and Dale Brailsford, and they are aligned in the terms of the vision, according to Laurie Whitwell. And further on, Laurie Whitwell goes to say as well that, at the moment, let me see, I'm just trying to find it. According to Center Devil, Sir Del, there's so many tweets coming out here, but latest was that he's open door policy for MUFC staff and players to discuss. He's basically going to have one-on-one discussions with all the staff and players how to improve in general, because at the end of the day, this is what they have to do. Let me just find it here. Yes, there was a tweet here. Let me just pull it up. Hang on a second while I'm sharing the screen. Hang on a second. Boom. So nothing is sensational, right? Like Ineos would like to stick with Erik Ten Hag and would also like to stay at MUFC. He also wants to stay at Manchester United. There's been a good sense of collaboration and discussions between Ten Hag, Sir Dale Brailsford, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right? But there was also some conditions added to Laurie Whitwell's, what they've discussed about, which is further up here. And by the way, further down the show, we're also going to talk about, the technical director leaving, which is Darren Fletcher, and John Murta is also going to leave. And I did a piece of report 4 weeks ago about it as well. So there's nothing new. Here we go. So basically attached to this condition, Ten Hag across all platforms for next season, but performance will factor into Ineos' call. Additional new coach under discussion. Player one-on-ones will Brailsford, Murta to leave. All parties agreed. Guys, I want to hear from you, right? Because at the end of the day, there are some certain conditions attached. Do you think that if he's not delivering performance to get into Europa or Europa League or Champions League, that he will not be here in the summer?
So what I think it depends on. I think it depends on the unknown factor, which is what is going on behind the scenes.
Nobody knows.
And the reason I say this is because if what is being said is true, which I've heard about several players don't believe in his tactics and whatever else, and it's clear to see what appears to be lack of effort on the pitch for a number of players on repeat occasions. We don't use any specifics. What we don't know is how many of those players who are not running, are they injured? So let's just talk a few scenarios. Are the players injured who aren't? We don't know of injuries and physically can't run, and we haven't got anybody else. So I'm just making up a few scenarios here. If they're not injured, then I'm sorry, but it's not about playing for the manager. It's about playing for the badge and for the shirt that you're wearing. And if you're not wearing that shirt with pride, it's time to go. Whoever you are, whoever. Some players on the pitch, you will say, give their all while they're on. I'm not saying they're always successful, but they'll give their all, and that's the first thing that you ask for as a manager. I'm a kids football coach, and we've got various levels of players, and one of the things that we look for is effort. We know some kids can do better with certain things, and effort is one of them, and we're screaming at them all the time. We're telling them how good they can be and how good they are. Those players need to believe this again. And if they're not willing to put the effort in, if it's that and it's not an injury, then it's time for them to go.
Yeah.
If it's about the players, if it's about the manager putting tactics out there that aren't working, then it's down to the manager to say, look, you've tried this, you've changed it, it's not worked. We know about all the injuries, and that is there's certain players who were picked to play the Ten Hag way, and most of those haven't been available, we believe.
Not true.
We've not had a natural
Phil,
left back, which I touched on.
Can I just add on to something here? Because if you look at the style of play, if you look at the under 18s and 21, they all played Ten Hag style of play. They're the ones.
Which is what, though?
What?
Which is what, though? What is his style of play?
I think it's more of a possession-based high press, high press football, high intensity, and a lot of transitions. But it hasn't been working, right? So what must be Ineos going through at the moment? We don't know, because there's contradicted reports coming out here and there. And we know what media is like they hate us, right? They hate us. They just want to put a spanner in the wheel. It's been an ongoing discussion. Will they back him or sack him? And now, Laurie Whitwell comes out to say yes. But there is a question that I need to ask. Which players are letting him down in their case? Because for me, if you run a business, like I run a business, I've been a global director and stuff like that. I know what performance management is. I know what it means to do a strategic review. If I see that something is working and I see what is the root cause, what is letting you down. Manchester United for 11 years haven't had a proper structure. We haven't had a director of football. We haven't had any directions, right? So it's been like managers been running around like a headless chicken. They've been recruiting players based on the shirt sellers instead of will it fit the style of play? Because every manager has brought in a different style of play, pragmatic, counter-attacking, X, Y, Z. So for me, I can understand what Ineos are thinking. As per what Sir Jim Ratcliffe was saying, that, it's not always the manager's fault, because we had award-winning CVs, like we had Mourinho in there. They simply haven't been back. There haven't been any structure. So maybe behind the scenes to say, we understand what the root cause is. We understand who the players are who are letting you down. They are down tooling, but don't worry. It's just get us through the season. And when we get to the summer, Brailsford is there, like the smiling assassin, doing one-on-one interviews and compiling his dossier. And I believe that a lot of players will not be here in the summer, right?
Agreed.
Bilal, do you agree? We know who the players are. Like Jose Mourinho called them snakes on a plane, right? They're still here.
Firstly, that Laurie Whitwell article, I think it's a bit misleading, because I think his information is before the weekend, the Brentford and Chelsea results, and which would have set alarm bells off in management. Number two is obviously they're going to plan with him. They're not going to rock the boat and say, well, we're planning transfers and you're not involved. They're obviously going to plan with him. I think we will know in the next 3-4 weeks regarding him, because he he's going to end up going into his next year of contract. And I said this in the stream last night. I just don't think he enjoys the job, in my honest opinion. I think he's come to a point where he's like, I don't think this is for him. He just doesn't look the same. He doesn't speak the same. And I think he will. I personally think they'll come to a mutual agreement. I don't think they'll sack him or he'll resign. It'll just be mutually, they'll agree to part ways. And it's not because I don't think he's good enough. I just think he's got to a point where he's just like, this whole thing's not for me. And I think they'll just want a fresh start with a fresh idea and a fresh way of operating.
That's very interesting you say, because I do cover all the pressers, right? And he said that, like, you know, he got a question from one journalist a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about it, that managing Manchester United is the hardest job in the world. It's the biggest club in the world, and I cannot do it by myself. You need support. You need, like, everyone to be on one same page, right? It is difficult, and he looks deflated. And Phil, I must say that, you know, the image of a team is the shape of the manager, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, so the mood of the manager reflects on the team, and the mood of the captain as well, like, you know, the overall leadership. So if he is somehow running out of ideas, frustration, doing desperate things, doesn't it reflect on the overall team performance as well? And the mood?
Yeah, it's going to have an impact. You know, Ten Hag's, and you kind of wonder, is that the reason why Ten Hag's coming out with these delusional statements at the end, trying to keep the team lifted? But it might be that actually some of the team need to hear the truth, as opposed to hearing all the, the nice lies. To me, when we talk about who we're going for in the transfer window, and we spoke about captaincy and stuff like that, we need a character, not just a player. You need someone like a Roy Keane, a Patrick Vieira, a Gennaro Gattuso, someone like that who's going to literally grab the player by the scruff of the neck on the pitch, going, get over there and run, sort of thing, literally to his own players. You know, the last person we kind of saw do a little bit of that was Rooney, where he would say, this is what you should be doing. I've just done that for you. And then he'd go back and tell them off. Whereas there's too much niceties going on at the moment. We've spoke a lot on this channel about mental United and stuff like that. And there's another side to it where too much, you feel that you can't say anything anymore. Well, at the end of the day, there's got to be something said at some point somewhere, because yes, we're all human, but at the end of the day, you're a professional being paid to do a job. Whatever that job is in the world, you're paid to do a job. And if you're not performing in your job, there's reviews and what you can do to improve on that. And then you have a measurement against it 6 months later, how you're performing against that review, or 3 months later, or a month later, whatever it is. You know, you'll know these things yourselves. And then if they're not performing, you go, well, okay, we'll give you one more chance. Well, let's try this sort of thing instead. If that's not working, you go, look, it's not working. You're not putting the effort in, or you've not met the target we set for you, or you've not shown any improvement. This has been going on for years. This manager recycle problem.
Yeah, well, seriously, we haven't. I mean, if you look at it, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, we haven't had one single manager completing a 3-year tenure of his contract.
No.
It's been
look at Arteta, that run of results the other year. I think it was 12 games. It showed, I think there was 12 games where we lost in a row. No, there was one draw in the middle of it or something like that. There was a span of 12 games, and they stuck with him and they backed him. But I think at the end of the day, Barada and Ashworth and whatever his other name is, obviously Brailsford and the other guy, Wilcox. We're getting a new structure in place. We're going to change a lot of things. They will already know exactly what's going on. You're not going to hear in the press, because the professionals, and that's why we've got them in, because they are some of the best that we have poached from other clubs. We know that. We're laughing about it. It's all right laughing about what's going on off the pitch, but we've just got to get to the end of a season with what's left. And I talk about players, and you know, I think people have got to be given, you know, Ahmad was on the bench last night. Again, I don't know if he's back from his injury or not. I don't know if he's fit.
Ahmad was suspended.
I know, but has he been injured? Why was he
No.
not brought on? Or I just Ericsson, what's going on with him this season? He's said in that presser with the press, European press, about he's frustrated that he's not had the game time. He's obviously gone, but why? And we know he hasn't got the legs to do it, but he brings something different to the game. Like Bilal was saying before, Amrabat and Ericsson, they're two different players who will bring different strengths to the midfield. And instead, it was just about trying to build a wall, which just didn't work because the wall was moving forward, the wall was moving back instead of holding your positions. And
it is.
Just a
little bit pressed for time because I know you got to listen, guys. I posted a link here so you can read for yourself. I don't want to go over too much, but if you can do us a favor and go read over this article, it's absolutely brilliant. It explains the injury debacle at Manchester United, having no head of physio, no doctors, and how poorly this has been run as well. So go read this article. I just want to sort of touch base on that one, guys, as well, because at the end of the day, it's been the mystery question, and I watched I followed the last presser, and they asked him the question regarding that, and he said, we are dealing with this internally. We're investigating this internally. Now we have Dr. Death in there, green lighting players to come back on concussions. There was even a damning report regarding Casemiro. Remember, he felt a little bit of a niggle in his thigh. He went to seek the medical opinion. They say, you're fine to play. And he's like, nah, I still feel something. Yeah. So he went to Barcelona, to his own camp, and they say, discovered something. And yet again, we see the same bloody things happening yesterday. How can you greenlight somebody that has concussion? How can you greenlight somebody that it's hardly fit? Because yesterday in this game, two of our centre-backs should never have played in the first place. Two of our centre-backs started, got sobbed, right? Should we have just started Willy Kwambala and rested Varane for Liverpool? I mean, read this article because it's quite damning in certain sense, because it goes into the Arsenal's head doctor and the incompetent physios that we have there.
Right? Wasn't the Arsenal doctor known as Dr. Death? Somebody told me last night, because everybody he worked with was injured off the back of it. So why have we gone for him? I think if Ashworth and that are coming in, they're going to pick their own structure, and we're going to see more than just players changing again.
Right. There's nothing wrong with the training facility. Carrington is a beautiful training ground. It's just it's lacking, upgrade of modern facility, technology, those kind of things, and the competency, right? The competency. People need to get him fasting in 10 minutes. Iftar piece. Yes, you got to go iftar. Happy iftar as well. So just to wrap up that, guys, it's been a brilliant podcast, to be honest. I'm just want to ask one more question here. Why is he not trusting some of the players that he signed, like Amrabat?
I said that.
Right?
He was ideal for that game yesterday towards the end, because he just keeps the ball really well. If you see in the World Cup as well, he just recycles the ball. Him and Ericsson were ideal for that, and I thought Mount should have gone in the middle instead of Bruno. But I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, we all want the manager to do well, and everyone's a lot hesitant to point. But a lot of these issues do point towards him, because of picking players, this, that, the other. Now, he's going to have to, like I said, we hope he can turn this around, but he's running out of a lot of goodwill very quickly. And if we're getting frustrated, the guys that are paying the wages, imagine what they're going through.
Yeah. All right, then. Just a quick one. I'm just going to paste it. I'm just going to add this to this stage as well. Right. Listen, about the 21st of February, I wrote this article here. The link is in the chat here as well. Go read this one. It describes everything what's going on inside United. Now, I even said that more heads will roll. And now, lo and behold, everyone is coming out to say that, Murta will be going, Fletcher will be going. And it's about time, right? Because at the end of the day, there was just appointing boys for the jobs, not incompetent, just paper over the cracks. But I want to move on to you can go and read this for yourself. So I'm more ecstatic that John Murta will be leaving, and Darren Fletcher, nobody knows what his actual job description was. Was it a cone layer? He was actually taking training with the title of technical director. A quick one round you guys. What are you thinking?
I think it was inevitable that once Wilcox came in, he's got the same title as Darren Fletcher, technical director. He was going to go. I think Murto was always going to go, just because of he's really good with youth. If you look at like Garnacho and players like that, he was the one that's brought him through when in his previous role. But obviously, they were going to clean break everyone. But I think what we need to, one concern is they're not appointing people quick enough. Obviously, they're still negotiating and you're getting towards the summer. I think Blanc will have a bigger say in this summer than we actually think. Hence why we're dragging these negotiations out. But I think that's long term, which is good. You know, we're putting a structure in place, but in the short term, I just don't see how this gets better.
No. Phil, for your information as well, in this article as well, I spoke about, Chloe Roche, who is the chief operating officer. I don't know if you know who she is, but everything that's been appointed by Woodward is going out the door at the moment. The reason why what's his name, the CEO that got sacked?
Woodward.
No, not Woodward. Help me, please. Arnold got sacked is because Colette Roche has an history of being the HR director, but she's chief operating officer and a major activist in certain, you know what I mean. They did an investigation. They found it clear, and the final hurdle comes with the CEO to approve. They found no arguments for dismissal or whatever, breach of employment. So they were preparing to tell Ten Hag that Greenwood is coming back, XYZ, and somebody leaked it out to the press, and that got him fired. Now, keep in mind that there is one called Hugo Viana, right? He's favored by Ineos. So it's all about, cleaning the clean house at the end of the day, get rid of that old toxic environment. And I just stress to the point that if you're going to turn the page, you got to sort of call pest control and get rid of everything, right? What's the point of leaving one cockroach in there? Because it's going to multiply. You get my analogy? So for me, at the end of the day, just to summarize it, Murto and Fletcher leaving, this is, major positives. Everyone that was from Woodward and his mates leaving, that's massive positive, because it's been a very toxic environment they're creating, fostering player power and treating Rashford more as a commodity and protecting certain players and undermining the managers, right? Guys, thank you so much. Rush Maino gifted 10 memberships. I want to wrap things up before we lose Phil Standish as well, because we're going to look at the Liverpool game as well. Before I continue, Rush Maino, big up, you gifted 10 memberships. And who was gifted the membership? Let me just scroll down. Yes. Let me see. Jason Palmer, congratulations. Welcome to the family. Gas Taylor as well. Big up, Gas. How you doing? Glazes out. Abdullah Irvan as well. Tom Hudson. Giorgio B was also gifted a membership. Alistair Dirks, Wayne Faircloth, and Abi Cody was also gifted a membership. And who else? Paris and Ilario Pastori as well. Big up. Welcome to the family. And don't forget to thank Rushmano. Legend Rushmano, guys. Big up, Rushmano. Thank you so much. And don't forget to continue supporting it, because it's only costing you about €1 a month to support this channel. And one important factor as well, even if you have subscribed, there's this bell button in your subscription. Personalize it, because nowadays YouTube don't let you know that we are live unless you allow all notifications, right? That is so important, right? Anyway, guys, Ten Hag had his press conference today. Same. We are playing Liverpool Saturday. We'll probably do another preview tomorrow, but I just want to hear your thoughts, Phil, before you leave as well. We are thin in the back.
Sunday, yeah?
We're playing Sunday. Yeah. Liverpool has not been very convincing. They hardly got over the line against Luton. They hardly got over the line yesterday against Sheffield United. We slapped them 4-3. Do you think that we will see a double here? That the players will look themselves in the mirror. Apparently, they were crying on the bus home yesterday, right? So do you think they will look themselves in the mirror and turn that tap on?
I think they can. it wouldn't surprise me that they'll turn up for one game. If you need motivating to turn up against Liverpool when you can potentially stop them winning the league,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be in the squad. You shouldn't be playing for Man United. You don't need motivation for such a game as a professional. You just don't. You create your own motivation. You've got pride to play for. It's at home. At the moment, United fans are saying, let's just hope we don't get tonked, and we'll be happy with that. We'll be happy that we don't get absolutely battered and mauled in our own home. We know it was a smash and grab in the FA Cup. And yeah, at the end of the day, Klopp was questioning what his own team were doing, and he won't allow that to happen again.
No, true.
It's a tough one. I mean, at the end of the day, it is literally our last chance. If we lose again, I don't think Ten Hag will be. I could be wrong, but I don't think Ten Hag will be sacked before the end of the season because it just seems pointless.
So, listen, at the end of the top 5, top 4 is not mathematically gone. If we win Liverpool, the race is on, right? So definitely.
Yeah, but if we beat Liverpool, our next game away is Bournemouth. There's more chance of getting spanked against Bournemouth than Liverpool. Them are the games we know good at Bournemouth away.
That is a sad thing. Like, I keep comparing this team like a water tap. Like, you switch hot, cold when you want it. I want to see super hot, full steam ahead, right? Full flow, nothing else. So judging from here, it's all about the players right now and the mentality and not to switch off. And surely they should have a lessons. But Phil, do you think that we will line up similarly and play similar style what we did in FA Cup against Liverpool 2 weeks ago?
I think the thing is, obviously, the reason we got, when you think of how that game started, we surprised them because they were expecting to turn us over, and we came out the traps. And the thing is, it's not just about effort; it's about the actual performance on the day as well. And in that first 20 minutes against Liverpool, we were by far the better team, and we shocked them. And the only thing that might go in our favour after our recent results is they might have that in their head again, that they're just going to tank us, sort of thing. And that might work in our favour if we turn up with the right mentality. But we have got to go out with the 11 captains on that pitch, because otherwise it's game over.
Yeah, so typical Rushmano beat the bin dippers and easily lose to Bournemouth, no doubt. Randall Lewis, big up to you. It's the Pogba curse. It is. A superstition story about Paul Pogba bearing that hyena, right? Jesus Christ. Listen, I believe we can do it. This is Old Trafford, right? The crowd will be behind us. Depending on what we have, Bilal, in the back line, Willie Kwambala should be able to master it. We have still Maguire. I thought Maguire was good yesterday as well. Solid.
He was okay. Sorry, Bilal.
I think the issue isn't the Liverpool game. I think we'll turn up. We'll give it a good shot. It's the other bloody games like the Fulhams and the Evertons and the Bournemouths and the Crystal Palaces is where the worry is. The worry isn't like against the bigger teams. We will turn up whether we win or not, but we won't. I don't see us getting smashed. But the thing is, the smaller teams where the struggle is that's the problem.
Why is it so? Is it nonchalance, or is it petulance, or is it undermining, or I don't know?
I just don't think we know how to play them.
Phil, what you were saying?
Sorry, Bilal. Go on.
No, go on, Phil.
I think for me, it's mentality. They're living with, as of a lot of the fans, this expectation that we should win because we're Man United. That's been gone for so long. And until we start to think about the mentality of where we're really at as a football club at the moment, as hard as it is to admit, we're nowhere near where we should be. We're still classed as one of the biggest clubs in the world because of our history, because of the money that's potentially there when the people aren't taking it out the top end. But at the end of the day, they just think that they've got a right to go out there and beat the lower teams. So it's the mentally preparing for it. You know, we again, as my talking as my little manager role sort of thing with the kids, we tell the kids when we're playing, but you know, I won't use any specifics, but we've got a couple of kids who turn up when we're playing teams lower in the league, and they're going, "Oh, bottom of the league, it's brilliant. We're gonna smash them." It's like, no, be quiet. If you carry on with that, you won't be starting today. And that's the sort of attitude that goes from an 11-year-old child right through to to the professional at the top. They're thinking, it's all right. We don't need to try as hard for this one. We'll be all right with this one. No.
Drummer 3354, big up to you. Said it's ignorance, and I agree with you. Yeah. Listen, guys, just want to touch base on that because I'm afraid of something. And if we speak about petulance and ignorance, there's at least you see the kids are not getting influenced as of yet. Garnacho keeps fighting to the end. He's not really influenced by the senior negativities. Bruno Fernandes, come on, pull yourself out. Don't roll around the grass and be petulant. One thing that irritates me when I saw Phil Foden the other day got fouled. Instead of he didn't complain, but he got up, got the ball, and scored. Remember that goal? He scored a hat trick.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
That's different. That's
against
a different
Villa.
There's a different mentality and professionality. You know, stop whinging and start playing football, right? And I'm just afraid. I just want to make a valid point here. The reason why I'm stressed to get rid of the dead woods or the toxic elements without mentioning names, because everyone knows who they are, right? It's down to Ineos, because if your plan is to bring in young youth under 26 in the summer and bank on the academy to come up, you got to get rid of the toxic elements because they look up to the senior players. Oh, Rashford is doing this. He can get away with it. I will also do this, right? I don't want Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, and Højlund to be polarized in that way because it happens, right? It happens. Put yourself in a work situation, Phil and Bilal. Like, you know, if you see your colleague is getting away with murder, you also started to apply. Like, wait a minute, why should I fall in line? Yeah,
we say that toxic players, we do, but we've got rid of that many players. How many toxic players have we got? We got rid of Pogba, Lingard, Dean Henderson, you know, so many, De Gea, even the players you didn't think were toxic, and you started questioning, are they toxic or not? We got rid of them all, right? Really, we were only left with but who are the toxic players? Because to me, every year, summer we're getting rid of toxic players, and then the following summer we're getting rid of more. How many toxic players are there? Is it all 30 players?
That's a big question. We don't know. I know one journalist knows. His name is Samuel Ockhurst. He knows everything what's going on there, apparently. So listen, at the end of the day, I know you're pressed for time, Phil. You overstayed. You said 60 minutes. Guys, brilliant, everyone. It's Friday afternoon. Let's just dust it off. It's been therapy session. We spoke about everything. I was planning to do a little bit of watching the Ten Hag's presser, but what's the point? Or do you want to do that? Or should we just park it in the bus? Everyone knows.
It's just, what more can he say? He needs to.
Yeah.
He needs to just deliver.
Before we continue, Phil, I might not have you on. I know you're a busy man. You're going for you have a semi-final tomorrow, I guess, with your team, right? That you're coaching. Big up for you.
Thank you.
What do you think? Will we turn up? What would be the score prediction?
I think I'm going to I've got, at the end of the day, you know, you've always got to back your own team, whether you believe it or not. You've just got it in the hope that they can do something. Because if they turn up on the day, they can win, they can surprise, but they've got to turn up with the right mentality. And if Old Trafford isn't rocking and sucking that ball in the back of the net for us, I think the problem is, do you go out guns blazing and go toe-to-toe? Or I don't think we can outmaster them, because I don't think Ten Hag's got the skill set in his locker. So you've just got to go for it. You just got to go for it. And if damage limitation comes into place, then you've got to stop trying to chase it and just go, right, okay, it didn't happen, move on. But I'm gonna say like a 2-1.
2-1, a bold 2-1.
But that's
To Liverpool.
really that's hoping. That's hoping United get it. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Right.
It's my heart, not my head.
Yeah, just going back to big up Linda Warrington. I agree with your statement. Ineos don't get rid of the dead wood. They're not people to take us forward. 100% agree with you. Bilal, how do we beat Liverpool? Are you agreeing? Like,
I just think play with confidence, play your game. You've beaten once before. You beat him last season. Believe in yourself and take the game to them like we did in the last game. They'll be on edge as well because they're going for a title race. They've got more to lose than us. One slip up to us, they can derail the whole season. So they'll be on edge as well and play your game and use that to your advantage.
Yeah. Again, 31 shots in Belfast.
Yeah.
It's better than, we're talking about shots at tequila. It's better than 31 shots conceded. But at the end of the day, I hope it's not shallow Hag. I hope they learn from the mistakes. I hope we don't, concede cutback passes because that's what Liverpool does as well. It's all about mental ability. It's all how they rock up. And for me, it's a disappointment that we could at least got 6 points here and be in a different position, right? Brentford, we could have won the game. Again, we let our heads down like so many times before this season and we lose the game, right? Yesterday was for me more of a shocking, at least we deserved 1 point at least, 1 point. So gone in 90 seconds, and that's on the players, It's got to be on the players. But if it's on the players has to rock up and, play with your heart and sleeve to stop Liverpool winning the league. At least if you can do that, make us proud, right? Unless if our season been deflated this season, just make us proud because if you remember the feeling when we won 4-3 over the Scousers, right? We were euphoric. We were talking about this game for 1 week. The mood was 100% like over the moon, right? I still haven't landed, but now reality, I got hit in solar plexus against Brentford 1-1. But if there's a will, there's a way, guys. Just want to thank you one and each for coming in, having a therapy session because it always helps, the community. Personally, it wasn't easy to wake up in the morning, but you always feel better when you reflect on certain things and when you speak to other people. I spoke to Phil this morning. It's not always that I get you to have you feel on and say hello to you.
It's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, you can follow Phil here on Phil Standish at MUFC Realist TV on Twitter. You can also see Phil Standish. This is your, football philosophy as well, right, on Twitter.
Yeah, I've not used that for so long. I give up with it. I can't
yeah, no,
it was just stick with Phil Standish. This is me.
Wicked. Bilal Yogi as well, one of our partners as well. We are co-streaming on your channel as well, Full Time Reds. Go check out Bilal Yogi, Full Time Reds as well. Brilliant channel as well. And Bilal appears on our channel quite often as well. Thank you guys for speaking facts. Bilal, where can people find you as well?
Just Twitter,
I am Bilal.
X, I am Bilal Jogi, or Full Time Reds on YouTube. Drop us a sub and support us as well.
Yeah. I remember Disney, Yogi,
Yeah,
Yogi the Bear. Yogi Bear, yeah. I don't know how the Rangers can find you, Yogi. Thank you so much. Have a lovely Friday, people. I really enjoyed having this conversation, guys. If you are looking in this retrospective, give us a little bit of a cheeky like, subscribe if you haven't, and big up for all of you. Thank you. Big up. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Thank you for watching. Glory, glory, Manchester United, and let's hope for a win. We'll be back soon, hopefully tomorrow with a preview if that happens. If not, take it easy. See you on Sunday. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.